This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Right, let's follow on from the previous video where I was just giving you guys the result where Anthony Joshua dominates Andy Ruiz Jr. over there in Saudi Arabia in a rematch and becomes part of a very, very small group of people who can call themselves a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. By the way, if you're new on into this channel, make sure you are clicking that subscribe button. We are Team AJ all the way. In fact, we're Team UK. Now, first of all, big up to Andy Ruiz Jr. First of all, for taking the rematch and giving us boxing fans a huge, huge night of boxing. And ultimately, for winning back on June the 1st at Madison Square Garden, which set off a lot of people talking about boxing who probably weren't beforehand. Now, of course, this rematch over in Saudi Arabia, for me, I always felt that Anthony Joshua was either going to stop Andy Ruiz Jr. in the first couple of rounds, or if he couldn't get him out of there, then box his way to a victory, much like he did against Joseph Parker. And that is pretty much spot on what happened. Anthony Joshua, of course, he started off round number one, and you could pretty much see what the pattern was going to be. And with Anthony Joshua, he was dancing around on the back foot. Quite clearly, the excess weight that Anthony Joshua let go for this fight and the extra weight that Andy Ruiz Jr. had, it was a case of Anthony Joshua was the faster foot fighter, and that paid dividends. And what we didn't want to see was Anthony Joshua do what he did in the first fight, which is trade off with Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm not too sure if there's a faster-handed heavyweight in the world than Andy Ruiz Jr. And by the way, everybody who's been chastising Anthony Joshua up to this point, saying he's finished, he's over, he's been exposed, Andy Ruiz Jr., he's the real deal. Listen, I've spoken to Andy Ruiz Jr. on quite a few occasions. Real nice guy, very, very humble guy. Hasn't been so humble since he won the title, but hopefully now we can rebuild a little bit and we'll get him on the channel. And of course with AJ as well. Now, in this fight, Anthony Joshua was using his size and reach advantage, which a lot of us people, we wanted to see. We didn't care whether or not the fight was going to be interesting. We didn't care if it's going to be a brawl. We didn't care if it's going to be boring. We didn't care if it's going to be an absolute stinker. All we wanted was Anthony Joshua to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world and become king of the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua is now the WBA, WBO, IBO, and IBF World Unified Heavyweight titles. Now, we're going to talk about what's next a little bit later on. But from round number one, Anthony Joshua done what we wanted him to do, fight the way that he fought Joseph Parker. In some ways, fight the way that Joseph Parker did against Andy Ruiz Jr. But Anthony Joshua, he wasn't just, fighting away from him. He wasn't fighting scared, nothing like that. He was fighting smart. He was fighting clever, using that jab, that ramrod jab. He was using it as a rangefinder and stiffen up as well. In the first round, Andy Ruiz Jr., he gets a cut on the corner of his left eye. I think it was round number one, round number two. Listen, my emotions are all over the place, as I'm sure many of you guys are. It is too. So there is a bit of a cut on the left corner of the eye of Andy Ruiz Jr., which was from a legitimate right hook, which Ruiz has got one hell of a chin. We've always known that. I've been following Ruiz for quite some time, but we've always known that Ruiz has got one hell of a chin, one hell of a head, and him getting dropped in the first fight, that's probably the first time that he's ever been stopped ever, even as an amateur. Well, I say stopped, hit the canvas. So in this one, Joshua just boxed smart. He used his height and his reach, and he was moving all around the ring, side to side, up against the ropes, in the middle of the ring. He was making Andy Ruiz Jr. frustrated. Andy Ruiz Jr. couldn't throw punches. He couldn't throw his combinations. That's what wins Andy Ruiz Jr. fights. But Andy Ruiz Jr. is very, very heavy-handed. At times, throughout this fight as well, in round number two, Ruiz, he did manage to clip Joshua, and Joshua just smiled at him. And that's pretty much what the pattern of the whole fight was. For me, I gave Ruiz 2, maybe 3 rounds in that whole fight. And I was being generous with that, I thought. But ultimately, from what we've seen in round number one is pretty much what we've seen right the way through up to round number 12. There were moments in this fight where Andy Ruiz Jr. looked like he was starting to close the distance, starting to maybe get on top of Anthony Joshua at times, in brief periods. But Joshua, again, being very, very smart. He didn't go for the kill. He didn't go to engage. He did at times, which again, my heart was in my mouth. But either way, Anthony Joshua dominates him throughout the entire fight. Never really in trouble. He celebrated humbly at the end, as it is with Anthony Joshua. As we've all said before, Anthony Joshua is humble in defeat, just as he is humble in victory. So either way, congratulations to Anthony Joshua on becoming the new two-time WBO, IBO, IBF and Super WBA heavyweight champion of the world. Click that mother loving subscribe button. The king is back on top. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.